there's no water. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. Shabbat Shalom to everyone joining us from home as well. It's good to see everyone as we celebrate Shabbat together. We are going to begin on page 142 with Debbie Friedman's Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll continue with the lighting of Shabbat candles, page 120. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Is not found in the prayer book. It's called For the Arrival of Shabbat. Well of life, bless my heart with the gifts of Shabbat, the presence of your love in my pulse, your glory in my chest, and your wonder in my breath. Bless my eyes with the gifts of Shabbat, the beauty of the candlesticks, the Kiddush cups and chalot. Bless my lips with the gifts of Shabbat, rejoicing in song and prayer, our melodies ancient and new. Bless my ears with the gifts of Shabbat, hymns and praises, the nigunim of old, and blessed words of Torah. Bless my soul with the gifts of Shabbat, awe and thanksgiving, calm and surrender, beauty, righteousness, and peace. Let these gifts descend gently on all your people, so that together, wherever we may be, In one voice from the four corners of earth we sing, Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Come in peace, messengers of peace, angels of the Most High. We'll continue with Lecha Dodi, page 138. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo rat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lihikrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, Meherosh mikedem nesucha, Sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hi torari, torari, Ki va'orech umi ori, Uri, uri, shir daberi, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, Gam besimcha uvetzohola, Toch emunei am segula, Bo'i chala, Bo'i chala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. We'll continue on page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise. At each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'almad yivarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv, v'imeru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivarach, le'alam u'almei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh, v'yitalal shmei dekudasha, richu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, ve'imeru, amen. We'll continue with Baruch, page 146. Please rise. Page 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. We'll continue with Ve'ahavta, page 154. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha Ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkeru, vasitem et kol mitzvotai, vitem kedoshim lelohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 159. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Page 158. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nora tehilot o sefele, nora tehilot O sefele malechutecha rahu vanecha bokei ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam zeli zeli anu vehamru Adonai imloch leolam vaed Yam bam bam bim bim bam yabba bam bam bim bam Yam bam bam bim bim bam yabba bam bam bim bam ay 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 yabba bam bam bim bam ay 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 yabba bam bam bim bam. Page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We'll continue with Vishamru, page 162. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz, v'shamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Page 165. In an envelope marked personal, God addressed me a letter. In an envelope marked personal, I have given my answer. We'll continue with Tefillah, beginning page 164. Please rise. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim לחסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממיד ומחיה ומצליח ישועה, נאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. We'll continue on page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lecha na'eh lehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. And this reading is written by Rabbi Karen Kedar. It's called Make of Me a Vessel. Make of me a vessel ready to receive the loving stream from a transcendent good, that it may course its way through my discerning mind and complicated heart and the purity of my soul, O aspirational soul, that I may be a force for good. I call upon you, creator of the universe, make of me a vessel, a mere image of paradoxical beauty, of mystery and oneness, and love, and love. We'll continue with prayer for peace. Shalom Rav, page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon Lecho hashalom, ki atahu melech adon, lecho hashalom, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'v'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. tasim leolam, tasim leolam, tasim leolam. We'll take a moment now for individual silent prayer and reflection. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. I'll turn now to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, service for reading of Torah, beginning on page 364. Please rise. הגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד כי חוב השמיים ובארץ כי חוב השמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה והמתנשא Please be seated. Our Torah portion this evening can be found on page 1405. It's Deuteronomy chapter 10, starting at verse 12, from portion Akev. And as the Israelites are preparing to enter the promised land, and they are being reminded of the importance of the mitzvot, the commandments they're receiving, and as often the case, they are summed up to make them sound actually quite basic and quite simple, that you follow the laws and walk in God's ways, that the laws that have been given to you. There's also an interesting commandment here that talks about circumcising the foreskin of your heart. It's an interesting description here, rather than the usual form of circumcision that we are usually think of, that we of course read about, and especially in Genesis. It is the foreskin of the heart, which symbolizes ethical behavior. So not a literal circumcision, but an ethical removing of any blockage to keep you from your heart following the right commandment. So it's kind of a beautiful, powerful image. The blessings can be found on page 368. And please join with me. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed, Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. V'ata Yisrael ma Adonai Elohecha shoel me'emach ki im le'yira et Adonai Elohecha lelechet b'chol derachav u'la'ahava oto v'la'avod et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha lishmor et mitzvot Adonai ve'et chukotav asher anochi mitzavcha hayom latov lach. Hein l'Adonai Elohecha hashamayim u'shmei hashamayim ha'aretz v'chol asher ba. Rak ba'avotecha chashak Adonai la'ahava otam v'yivchar bezaram acharehem bachem mikol ha'amim kayom hazeh u'maltem et orlot levavchem v'orpachem lo tikshu od ki Adonai Elohechem hu Elohei ha'Elohim v'Adonai ha'Adonim ha'el ha'gadol ha'gibor v'hanora asher lo yisafanim v'lo yikach shochad oseh mishpat yatom v'almana v'ahav ger latet lo lechem v'simla v'ahavtem et hager ki gerim hayitem be'eretz Mitzrayim et Adonai Elohecha tira oto ta'avod uvo tidbok uv'shemo tishba hu tit halachta Vehu Elohecha asher asel otcha et mimitzrayma ve'ata shimcha Adonai Elohecha kechochvei hashamayim lerav v'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'shamarta mishmorto v'chukotav u'mishpatav u'mitzvotav Kol hayamim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Source of healing, cast the light of health and well-being on those who have been exposed to coronavirus, those who have contracted the disease, and those, God forbid, who contract the disease in the future. Bless them, protect them, and bring them speedily to full recovery. Bless all who are ill with healing of body, healing of soul, and healing of spirit. Baruch atah Adonai, Makor Chayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of life. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech v'yiraped kol cholei Yisrael v'kol cholei Adam. The God who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think especially of Karen Lacasto, Abraham Miller, Jennifer Singer, Peter Stampoulos, Irene Ruddock, Larry Yellen, Chris Baumler, Keith Thomas Jr., Judy Lesser, Norma Kaplan, Darcy Kalish, Irene Schmidt, Cindy Braun, Josephine Tardillo, Jennifer Fillo, Bob Vrigg, Chris DeBenedetto, Lucas Hartman, Lindsay Hartman, Miguel Baez, Nina Lieberman, Richard Legger, Yehudit Bat Rachel, Martin Kahn, Carol Frisha, Eleanor Walsh, Nancy Blake, Johnny Urquhart, Ruth Zuckerwise. We also pray for healing for servicemen and servicewomen who have been wounded or injured on behalf of our country. If you have a name or names of someone who is sick or injured in need of healing, please feel free to mention the name or names as they look in your direction, and those who are watching from home, please feel free to mention names as well at this time. Tishlach lehem refuah shlema, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf v'nomar. Amen. May God grant all of them, those whose names we have read and those whose names we have mentioned, those in our own hearts and minds, a complete and speedy healing, a healing of body and a healing of spirit. And we say together, Amen. And we'll join together in singing Mishaberach, prayer of healing for loved ones, found in the middle of page 371. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Page 374, prepare to return the Torah scroll to the ark. Please rise as the Torah is dressed. Eitz Chaim he. Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai. Please be seated. So if I were to ask you for the most appropriate greeting for tonight, most of you would likely tell me Shabbat Shalom or Good Shabbos. I might hear another few acceptable, though more general responses. But I guess that no one would answer with Happy Valentine's Day. After all, we are about as far as possible in our calendar from February 14th. While it is true that in our secular calendar we are almost 6 months away, in the Hebrew calendar last week, we actually saw the celebration of the Jewish equivalent of Valentine's Day. Now, before anyone gets upset at his or her partner for forgetting to send a card or roses or chocolates, please understand that this day, known as Tu B'Av, is not widely known outside of Israel. However, since Israel's existence as a modern state, Tu B'Av has taken on a strong cultural, if not a religious, significance. Occurring at a full moon, it has a connection with love and romance. Israeli festivals of singing and dancing are promoted at this time. The entertainment and beauty industries work overtime. Cards and red roses are commonly given. Love songs are dedicated on the radio. It is also a popular day for weddings in Israel. And despite all of these celebrations, Tu B'Av has no formal or legal status. Like Valentine's Day here in the U.S., it is a regular workday for Israelis. Yet, given the apparently secular nature of this day in modern Jewish times and its relative obscurity in the Jewish world outside of Israel, there is still much to be learned from Tu B'Av. Nearly 2 weeks ago, many Jews observed Tisha B'Av, the 9th of the Hebrew month of Av, a day of fasting and mourning. Tisha B'Av commemorates the destruction of both temples and a number of other tragedies befalling the Jewish people, all said to have occurred on or around that date. Tu B'Av falls 6 days later, on the 15th of Av. The holiday actually has its basis in two rather gruesome stories from the Bible, Midrash, and Jewish history, with themes of punishment, defeat, and eventually God's redemption. One story goes back to the episode in Exodus when the Israelites sinned by worshiping the golden calf. God's punishment consisted of a morbid burial ritual forced upon the Israelites that continued during their 40 years of wandering in the desert. But on the 40th year, the Midrash says, God granted forgiveness to the Israelites on the 15th of Av. Another incident occurred during the Bar Kokhba revolt against Rome nearly 2,000 years ago, whereby Jews were defeated and killed, but were not allowed a burial until much later, under new Roman leadership, on the 15th of Av. The day, which is always marked by a full moon, therefore, became a day of celebration. Despite the unappealing context of these stories, it is clear that the ultimate message from both is that God shows concern for the Jewish people even in times of rebellion or tragedy. So Tu B'Av took on a more light-hearted celebratory nature over time. Already before the Roman revolt story, during the time of the Second Temple, Tu B'Av was a day for unmarried women to dress in white and dance in the vineyards. This was an opportunity for men to choose a bride, the custom of the time. They were told to choose a partner based not on beauty, but on good values. And then for nearly 2,000 years, from the time of the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE until the rebirth of Israel in 1948, Tu B'Av was barely acknowledged. Nonetheless, it is still worthy of our attention as modern Jews living outside of Israel. Its origins in biblical and historical events emphasize the relationship between God and the Jewish people that underlies this holiday and all of Jewish life. Reference to God's loving nature, to human love as symbolic of the love between God and Israel, and the message that out of tragedy comes hope and renewal. All of these serve to remind us to maintain perspective and a sense of optimism, focusing on what is most important. As individuals and as a Jewish people, we have overcome many difficulties. And through it all, we have not only survived, but found joy, beauty, and meaning in our lives. Like our ancestors millennia ago, we can glean a positive message from circumstances that might otherwise have left us completely devastated. And by doing so, we gain strength through faith and love. That is what the celebration of Tu B'Av is truly about. It is about our need as Jews and as human beings to celebrate our conscious effort always to choose life, to live, and to love. As we recite the Shema and Ve'ahavta, both in our prayers on this Shabbat and in our Torah portion last week, and as we approach the upcoming High Holy Day season, let us remember God's oneness, our unity with one another, and the love and compassion we hope for in our lives and pledge to share with others. And on that note, I wish you all a slightly belated or slightly early Happy Jewish Valentine's Day, and Tu B'Av Sameach, and Shabbat Shalom. And we'll continue now as we look to a future that we hope will be one where God is one and God's name is one throughout the world. And we turn to Aleinu, page 586, praying for that day. Please rise. apologize that for some reason the Kaddish list that was here is not here. But I think I have a copy in my office. So if you'll bear with me for 1 minute, I'll go get it. We take an important moment now to remember the yahrzeit, the anniversary of death of Charlotte Weiser, mother of Paul Weiser, Murray Isquith, Bernard Feldstein, grandfather of Vivian Feldstein, Eli Kahn, Doris R. Kessler, Adam Richard Pollock, David Nathan Rosenthal, uncle of Beth Rosenthal, Ernestine Smallbach, mother of Kate Bennett, Erwin Smallbach, father of Kate Bennett, Adolf Stern, grandfather of Ann Gerstein, Walter Heinemann, grandfather of Susan Goldhaber, Reuben Bernstein, father-in-law of Maureen Bernstein, Fanny Cohen, Linda Kurtz, wife of Arthur Kurtz, Harry A. Berman, father of Myrna Ruisi, Hylan Bickerman, father of Pamela Volkman. We also remember for Shloshim, those who passed away recently, Cantor Sheldon Merrill, Linda Wish, mother of Sandy Freed. If you have name or names of someone for yahrzeit, anniversary of death, or Shloshim, recent death, please feel free once again to mention name or names as I look in your direction. And those watching from home, feel free to mention names as well at this time. For the names that have been read and mentioned, for those in our own hearts and minds, those who have no one to say the words of Kaddish for them, we turn in the prayer book to page 598, and there we find these words, praising God for the gift of life. It's our custom to stand together as a sacred congregation in support of those in mourning. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, Ve'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'amei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, all Israel and all of humanity, and we say together, amen. Please be seated. A reminder that we will have a Torah study tomorrow on Zoom at 9:30. Our service next week will be here in the sanctuary at 6 o'clock. It'll be an early service starting at 6 o'clock. If you would like to attend that service, please make sure you get your name in and let others know as well. It's good we have room for some more people to come, so please invite others to join us. We're going to conclude a final song, Yom Zeh Yisrael, page 634. This is Israel's day of light and joy, a Shabbat of rest. We'll sing the chorus and the second verse. Yom Zeh Yisrael, ora v'simcha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, ora v'simcha. Ora v'simcha, ora v'simcha, ora v'simcha, ora v'simcha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha, menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Kidashta berachta oto mikol yamim, כששת כילית מלאכת עולמים, בו מצאו עגומים, השקטו ביתך, שבת, שבת מנוחה, מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה, יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה. יום זה לישראל, שבת מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה, מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai varech et amo v'shalom. God, we ask that you give us strength through coming together as a community and the inspiration we find from one another, strength from learning from our tradition, and from looking with hope to a future that we hope will be one of joy, of wholeness, and of peace, of shalom. Amen. Shabbat shalom. And we'll join. We don't have wine or challah, but we'll join in the blessings symbolically. The halacha says that you can say the blessing for the wine over water if you don't have wine here, so we'll use the water. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen. We'll say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom once again.